So welcome to the start and end of keyword research for profit. I'm Eamon Motin. That's the guy on the left of the screen that you can see there wearing glasses. And I'm here with Jonathan Leger. He's the guy on the right. So the webinar format is going to be a little bit of information, then a quick demo, and then an offer. We're going to talk about what Google will not tell you, which is quite surprising really. And then we'll tell you what we will tell you, and we'll give you a look at Keyword Titan, and then there'll be an offer. But this is a webinar for anybody who wants to spend less time to achieve more and to outwit Google. And you'll see what that means when we get into this, because there are some interesting things about what Google does, which are not obvious when you first look at the search engines and so on, but they make a lot of sense once you understand what Google is interested in. And once you know that, then it becomes easier to, I say outwit them, but what I mean is to play their game in a way that makes them happy to give you traffic. So content drives the web. You know this, everybody knows this. You've heard the phrase a million times, content is king. Yeah. But what content? What content? Well, ask Google. They can tell you what content people are interested in. They're the search engine, right? So they already know what people are looking for. And therefore, if you ask Google, and we'll have a look at the keyword planner tool in a moment, they will tell you. Or you might think they will tell you, but in actual fact, they withhold information. And there's a simple reason for this. They're a business. So here's a question. You know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Who's Google there? Who are they there for to make money for? Is it you or is it them? You can see over here, this little thing, it should really be even smaller. This is you, the share that they would like to see you have, very little. And this is what Google would like. They'd like as much as possible. That's business. Perfectly fine. They're not in existence to make you a multimillionaire. They're in existence to make themselves very rich, and they do that very well. But there are some crumbs that we can get from them that we can leverage to do better for ourselves. And we're going to show you that and talk about that, so that even if you don't take advantage of this offer, you will walk away with some ideas on how you can feed Google in a way that pleases them. And if you please them, they'll keep you happy by way of traffic. I've got a question from Steve, which I will pause at this second just to answer. Steve is saying that he's struggled a little bit in using Keyword Titan for best effect, and he hopes that what we're going to show now is going to be easier. Of the keyword tool in Google. Yes, it is easier, but anybody who has purchased Keyword Titan already or buys during this promo, we're going to be running a special training next week, John and I, and we're going to be going into depth of how you start, what you do, and give you some good techniques for doing keyword research that will help you to build a solid platform for making some money. So the Google Keyword Planner tool can be used for free. You have to open an AdWords account, but you don't have to spend any money, but you kind of have to pretend you're going to. And it looks a little bit like this. There's various options that you can choose. But if you do a keyword research, I've done a simple one for vitamin D benefits. It's just one that's relevant at this time of year. Excuse me. And what we can see here is Google's answer. They're saying that between 10,000 and 100,000 people a month are searching this term. Okay, so if you were to go for a job interview and somebody said to you, well, the salary could be between 10,000 and 100,000 a month, what do you think? You think, well, yeah, 100,000 sounds good, but 10,000 is way less. Which is the exact figure, sir? Can you tell me a clearer figure? No, the range is, the figures are 10,000 to 100,000. Yes, but for me, what sort of level would be looking at? The figures are 10,000 to 100,000. You cannot make a decision based on that wide range. They're not giving you enough information to determine whether it's worth your while to focus on vitamin D benefits. Now, you may recall we said that content is king, but what type of content? When you're looking at content, what you want to be looking at really is what questions are people asking in the search engines that they want an answer for, because that content is what people will read and then be persuaded to buy your affiliate links or buy your products if you create products yourself. If you're answering those questions for them, you're more likely to make money. It's as simple as that. If you put out content that nobody is looking for, I think you can guess already how much you're likely to make. Not a great deal. So the questions that people are asking are what you should be focusing on. But since Google will not tell you properly how many people are focusing on these questions, it's very difficult for you to work out how much time to spend. Should you spend an hour? Go ahead.
Okay, let me throw something in here real
Please.
quick. It's not that Google doesn't have these numbers.
Yes.
It's that Google doesn't give these numbers to you. They used to. They used to give you much more precise figures, but then they changed the AdWords system so only very high spending AdWords clients with big budgets get those numbers. So what we're going to show you, what Amy is going to show you, the tool, has the exact figures that Google won't give you in the free tool. And I just want to point that out. They have it. They're just not going to give it to you unless you either have the big bucks or, like us, our tools have access to their system and the real numbers.
Yeah, and if you think about that, why would they? They're running a business. They're not a charity. They're not there to help you. They are there as a business to make money. And if they give you too much information, they're going to leak money, because you can do less and still make the same kind of revenue, and that impacts on them because they need your content to survive. If you know which bit of content is likely to work for you, that's all you're going to focus on, right? You're not going to do 200 other articles. If you have no idea which piece of content or which question is the one to aim for, you've got to do more work, kind of scattergun approach, throw a few, lob a few missiles at the target kind of thing, and see which one hits home. So you've got to do more. But if you do more, Google will take that and use it for their own purposes, because that's what they do. They take content to run their search engine. They take that content from you, from me, from John, from anybody who has a website. You might have noticed they've never approached you to ask you if they may do that. They just do it. So Google is a business. You don't count. They're not interested in you. They're not interested in me. So if we can level the playing field a little bit, that makes a big difference. So that's the question. How do we do that? How can we make it easier to do and more complete? Well, it's very simple. You use technology, and you use technology to help you target in more precisely, so you get a better target. Okay, you're looking to find the quickest target, the easiest target, what people sometimes call the low-hanging fruit. So I'm going to show you just a slide at the moment. We'll go to the demo in a few minutes, but I want to show you the same keyword with extra information. So here it is. So the same keyword here, vitamin D benefits, about 49,500 searches a month. Now, Google told us between 10 and 100,000. Their number 10 to 100,000 doesn't always mean the middle point like it is here. Sometimes it might be down at the 15,000, sometimes it might be the 60,000, but we've got a more accurate figure here. We can also see the cost per click. That's an indication of how much money Google might be making. The overall value based on the number of searches to the search engine, and the competition, which is how many advertisers are willing to pay for that particular keyword. The higher the competition for advertising space, the more valuable a keyword is. So you've got a lot of information here just on this first line. Now that is only the first line, but already we can see that nearly 50,000 people a month are looking for this particular keyword. That's not a bad target market, is it? That's 600,000 people a year. That's a lot of people. And if you think about all the associated keywords, you can get a lot of people looking for this kind of health information. Let me show you something else. So if we dive down into that keyword within keyword K9, and the bit I'm about to show you, you can do manually yourself if you want to spend multiple days collating the data. What I can see on the chart, I've scrolled down to the bottom here, is that on page 1, there's a website, this one at the bottom here, and it's highlighted in green, and it has 7 links to the page that is ranking on page 1. Now, I want to pause here to talk about this with John so that you understand what we're saying. Good content is important. Without content, nobody can come to your website because you've got nothing there. Backlinks are important because they tell Google whether your site is a decent site worth ranking, but you don't necessarily have to have thousands or tens of thousands of links in order to get onto page 1. In this particular case, what we can see is that there are 7 links to the specific content, but we've got a massive number of referring domains to the overall site, 70,000. So let's just analyze why this is important. So John, 70,000 links, I cannot compete with that. You cannot compete with that. Most of the people in the audience cannot compete with that. It would take a lifetime to get 70,000 links. And yet we're saying this site, and it's highlighted in green so we know it, would be easy to knock off page 1 because it only has 7 links to the page. What's this distinction between links to the entire site and links to a specific page?
Well, the number of referring domains, and that just means the number of unique sites that are pointing to this site in total is about 70,000. But the number of unique sites pointing to that page is only 7. Now, keep in mind that Google does take into account the links that point at the whole site, as long as the sites that are linking to you are high quality sites. However, it should not scare you to see really big numbers like that, because it's very often the case that the links in that 70,000 links, most of them are either low quality or just not highly trusted in Google's mind, and often are completely unrelated to the topic of the site. There's a lot of sites out there, like if you ever look up what's the value of and enter some domain name in Google, you'll find there's thousands of sites that attempt to calculate the value of other sites, and those value calculators are very low quality sites, but they're counted as a link because they link out to other sites. So what looks like an impossible task, beating out 70,000 links, oh, I can't believe I'm never going to get that many, really isn't nearly as hard as you think, because you only need a few, maybe a few hundred, and in some extreme cases a few thousand high quality sites linking to yours to beat out these sites that appear to have tens of thousands of links. Most of them are low quality and not difficult to beat.
Now, if we look at this one, the Harvard education site, that has just over 500,000 links to the entire site, but only 222 to the page that is on page 1 of the search engine results for that particular keyword that I've used as an example. Here's the thing, as well as what John has just said, Google can only deliver content that they have searched on the web for. That could be your content, it could be the Harvard educational site. You can see they're appearing twice there, position 6 and 7. It could be verywellhealth.com. They really don't care as long as they can make some money off the back of it by giving people what they're searching for. If Google cannot find something that matches the keyword precisely, where the links are relevant and quality, it will go for the next best thing. It won't show you just 2 items on a page. Most of the time, if you think about the searches you've done, it's going to give you multiple pages. It's very rare to see fewer than, multiple pages. So they're going to find something. And what they will do is find whatever they can. And a few links, as we're seeing here, 7 in this example at the bottom, 222 with this example at the top, count more than you might think, because there isn't a great deal of competition for that content and the quality of the content for that keyword. And you've got to think about the number of the search volume. Big institutional internet marketers, if I can call them that, are going to be targeting keywords with hundreds of thousands of searches. The one we're looking at as an example was only 49,500 a month. So the overall competition that you might get from other people on the web is lower than you think. And that's why you can get away with just a few links to a page if those links are very relevant. And there are ways to find out if they're relevant. We'll show you that in a couple of minutes. Now, here's something else. Again, this is from Keyword Titan, but you can do this yourself by going into the Google Trends. This is showing me the interest over time for vitamin D benefits. Now, if we have a look at this, this is the last year. You can see a spike, quite a big spike here. Now, winter, you get people thinking about this anyway, simply because there's less sun around. But this year in particular, this is a topic that has been discussed a great deal more because of this whole coronavirus thing. So the interest here, you can see it's sparking. Now, we don't know how long that will continue at the moment and how far it will continue to spike. It may go even higher because we don't know how long this situation will continue. But what we can see is that even without the extraordinary situation that we have over the last 12 months, there's a fairly steady kind of seasonal interest in this particular topic. What that means is this is something that is worth a little bit of time, because it's not going to be here today and gone tomorrow. You're going to get a regular kind of spike, a seasonality, where you'll get extra traffic simply by virtue of the fact that more people are looking for that particular keyword. That's kind of free traffic. You don't have to do anything special. You just have to be there. You have to be present with a piece of content about the topic. So we're going to take a closer look at the actual tool right now. Now, this is not a training session. We're going to do a training session next week. This is just to show you a couple of things, give you an idea of how this works. So the whole bunch of tools here. I'm going to start with the with the Keyword Explorer. And what this will do is allow me to search keywords, find out which ones are difficult, which ones are easy, and so on. Now, I've done that example earlier, so let me just pull up the list. And you can see that I've analyzed this, and these are the numbers that we saw earlier. That's the #1 ranked site. We could have a look at that, get some ideas what kind of content they have. We can see, the overall number of backlinks to that website. It sounds a lot, doesn't it? 231, but their links to the individual page will be different. Now, if I click on the keyword itself, I can get a drill down into some more data. So what we've got is a bunch of data here. And then further down the list, we have this kind of easy access, simple to understand screen, where the green means the weak kid on the block. This is the one I showed you earlier. I can have a look at the links that they have from 7 domains. Let me just hit this. That will just analyze, takes a few seconds. Now, 7 different domains giving 54 links. I'm going to pause again to discuss this with John, because there's something important here. If you've got 54 links, but only 7 websites giving you those links, that's about 8, just under 8 links on each website on average. John, how many of those links actually count with full Google juice?
Only 7. So Google will only pick the best, most relevant link for the keywords being searched for and apply that juice to the page to see if it should rank. So that's how it works. It doesn't matter if you have 1 million links from 7 sites. Google's only going to count 7 links from those 7 sites. It's just going to pick which one it thinks best applies to what the searcher is looking for.
We've all heard the phrase "one man, one vote." Well, it's kind of one website, one vote, because it's easy on a website to put thousands of links to the same thing. But as John has just explained, they don't count. One of them is going to count properly, and then Google will determine for itself which link should be the one that counts, and it may not necessarily be the one that you would like. So this particular website, which was the weak kid on the block that I've shown you here, although it's got 70,000 domains pointing to it, it's actually over 4 million links in total, and 54 domains pointing to the page of content. There are only 7 of them that are really counting. And that's why this becomes easy to knock off page 1. You can kick this guy off with a bit of content, Quality content, let me emphasize that, quality content. If you put up junk, don't expect to rank, okay? Doesn't work that way. Quality content, a couple of decent links, and you start to get some traction. Now, we can have a look at the website to see how they're doing it. Let's have a look. So I've just clicked on that link and it's showing me. So let's have a look. Vitamin D3, a nice image of a supplement, some links to definitions of medical terms, which is good. Links of that nature, by the way, are great because it shows that Google that you're giving people more information. So very straightforward. It's not massively complex. Some simple ideas of where you can get it in natural foods. What are the benefits? Have a look at this article, and I would like you seriously to read that and tell me if you think that is a super high quality article about the health benefits of vitamin D. It's 2 sentences, that is all. Effectively 2 sentences. Now I know they're breaking it down here in a bit more, but there's not a great deal there, is there? Vitamin D can help your muscles and bones. Again, very basic stuff. None of this is particularly detailed. But what they are doing, and this is a key point, they are using terms that are closely related to the question of vitamin D and supplements and calcium and osteoporosis and so on. Now, all these terms are related, and what they do is inform Google what this particular content is about. So when you're looking for related keywords, you can do this yourself by looking in a dictionary and doing lots of reading, or you can go into the Keyword Titan and do associated keywords. In fact, let me show you. So we can, let's just put this in again. And remember, we're going to run full training next week in detail. But if I explore the keywords here, and then I want to explore the related keywords, I'll do a full search. What it's going to do is tell me the terms that Google thinks are related to my main term. That's a great way for me to start constructing an article with subheadings, chapters if I want to go that high, and build up an authoritative piece of content that Google will like. While that's running, let me pause for 1 second for a quick sip of water if you don't mind. So I'll leave that running while we have a look at our example thing here. So you can see what they've done. They've put subheadings, and then each one of these is a couple of sentences. Not a great deal of content under each, right? And they're not particularly giving you technical statistical information. They're giving a little bit of information here, but not a great deal. It's not a spectacular article, really. It isn't. Anybody could write something like this with a little bit of work. If you get a few good links to it, and you put in terms that are related to your main term, in this case, vitamin D benefits, you're informing Google of the type of person who may be interested in this content. That makes it easier for them to rank your page. If it's easier to rank, you're going to get more traffic. But you need this information. Now, I showed you earlier the main keyword, vitamin D benefits. Here's another one. For men, supplement benefits, 10,000 IU, these are international units. Benefits for your skin, benefits from the sun, which is a related topic, on and on and on. Now, some of these are relatively low search volume. You know, 1,000 a month here, 720 a month there. A well-constructed article that has multiple related terms will enable Google to rank you for multiple terms. So a single page can rank for multiple terms. And by the time you've added up all these bits and pieces of traffic, a couple of hundred here and 1,000 there, over 10 or 20 or 30 keywords, can soon become 100,000 or 200,000 potential visitors a month. That's a massive number of visitors that are easier to get because you're targeting the smaller segments of the market, which means you've got less competition from the big players. And it's also easier then to construct an article that will please Google in a way that makes them rank. So, excuse me. So, John, before I continue, is there anything that you want to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to throw out there that what Eamon is describing, the technical term is latent semantic indexing, or LSI. Us engineers just like to give things unnecessarily fancy and complicated names. So if you're ever reading any articles about search engine optimization or anything, and you see them talk about LSI or latent semantic indexing, all that means is keywords that are related to the main one. That's all it means. So just so you're aware of that.
That's interesting. So the ranking site for this particular keyword is a UK site, even though I'm doing a search in the US. And by the way, you can search for whichever country you want to. So I've looked for vitamin D benefits searches in the United States. But one of the ranking sites is a UK site. That means they haven't got anything else to show you. If they had, they'd be showing a US site. And that you'd be surprised how many times that happened. Look, there's the second one, so it's twice there. Any others? 3 times. And if we looked at the next page and so on, I'm sure we might find more. But if they cannot find anything, they'll put the next best thing. They have no choice because they exist to serve the search engine users. If they have nothing to show you, how long will it be before people will go elsewhere to search? So they've got to show you something. So this concept of they will put whatever they can is important to bear in mind, because it means you have a chance to rank. So if we have a look, well, let's just have another look at this drill down. So just let that load. So you can see we've got a whole bunch of these here, right? So let's have a look. This particular one, we wanted to see the keyword, didn't we? Let me just take that. And what I'm going to do is close this so it's nice and neat so you can see what I'm doing. I want to see what backlinks they actually have. So we have a way to do that in here. That will give me an indication of the quality of the backlinks, the type of phrases that you're using. And this is good information because I can emulate, let me repeat that, emulate, not copy. Oh, I've done that twice. Let me just start again. I can emulate their strategy. And that means, effectively, I can let them do the research for me, and I can come along and emulate what they're doing.
And just so everyone's aware, Eamon went through the complicated process of copying and pasting that domain in, but
I know you can.
On the keywords page, just one click on the link count will take you right into this. So it's very intuitive and easy to use.
Yeah, thanks for spoiling what I was going to do next, John, because I was going to show them the easy way.
Sorry.
Well, I wanted to make the point that everything that you are likely to do, and bear in mind what I'm doing here is even easier than doing it manually, has been optimized so that it becomes as much one click as possible. Now, depending on how many links there are, it's going to take a while to explore, as you can imagine. So I'm seeing the links, the type of link, you can see the anchor text. Without getting too technical, the anchor text is telling me the clickable text on other people's websites. So this website, very well and so on, I'm seeing a lot of the same kind of terms, their name, which is fine. Then we're getting differences between sleepiness and fatigue, sports massage. Can you see they're all over the place with their terms? That's fine. That's absolutely fine. We can also see the kind of quality that they're getting, the actual websites themselves. So I can actually spend a bit of time and have a look at this, and I can determine, have I got a chance of getting some decent links that will help me to knock this website off page 1? That's the first thing. The second thing is, are they over optimizing? And I'm looking at this and no, they're not. They're doing a good job. They've got a lot of variety of anchor text. That's the clickable text. That's another thing that's particularly important. You will see when you analyze these, the ones that tend to rank well will have a pie chart that looks very well differentiated. It's not just 1 or 2 keywords. They're linking with lots of different keywords. That again helps Google to determine that you're not just a spammer. So just by doing this, I can see what my competition are doing. Now, let's go back to the Keyword Explorer. There's a whole bunch of other tools here as well, as you can see, but we're not going to go into every single one. We do have help files on each of the sections, and the training that we'll do in depth next week will cover any questions people may have. So if we have a look at this again, and just scroll down. So we like the weak kid on the block. He's the one who's marked in green because that's the one that is most likely to be easy to remove from page 1. So if you're going to start to build up a page about vitamin D benefits, this would be a good place to start. But you can look at the others. Let's have a look. 799, 173. That's not that many, really. We can have a look at them. Any other lower? 124. That's quite low. Okay, let's have a look at that one. So that was the thing that John was saying. I wanted to show you that it's so easy. All I do is click on this here. Can you see the number, which is telling me how many links this particular page has got? When I click on it, it fills it in for me, and all I have to do is click on Explore Backlinks. Now, I'm going to let that run for a few seconds, but this is telling me the links to that page. It's telling me where they're from and what it says. Now, just have a look at this for anchor text. That's a lot of text, clickable text. But can you see they're not using a great deal of variety, and yet they're still on page 1? So, John, let's explore that for the audience at the moment.
I was going to ask, Eamon, were you going to talk about the no follow?
Yeah, in a second, because that's why
Okay.
it's sort of pinkish. Yeah.
Sure.
But
yeah. I didn't want to jump the gun again on you.
Yeah. So what we've got is a website on page 1, and I think it was position 4, was it? I can't remember. Which is not varying the anchor text, even though it's got a lot of links. That means that Google doesn't really have anything else to show in its place, because if they did, they would show it. They'd look for something that's a bit more on the nose, a little bit more relevant. So, okay, 9 vitamin D benefits you should know and how to get more in your diet. Yes, the keyword is in there, but a lot of other stuff is as well. There we've got building strong bones and muscles. You remember we saw that a few minutes ago? So we've got some links here that are in white, and we've got some links that appear in, well, whatever color you call that. I call that pink. And at the bottom, it explains what that means. So anything in this color is a no-follow link, which Google basically ignores. That's not the full story. I mean, they kind of take it into account in a particular way, but essentially it doesn't pass any juice. So a lot of these, and you can see just how many of these have this pinkish thing, these are not counted by Google. So some of these links, although we're seeing a certain number of links, they're not really being counted. And therefore, the effective links are even lower. If they're even lower, that means it's easier for you to compete. So let me just scroll back and tidy up. Where was that? That was position 4. So the website on position 4 on page 1, 124 links, but a whole batch of them, I didn't count, but there were probably 20 or more. So maybe a fifth of the overall links are no follow. No follow isn't really passing any Google juice. So the actual effective links are even lower. Now, they do have a lot of links to the overall site, and this is why Google is putting them on page 1, because they've got nothing else to show. Let me just get rid of this, tidy up a little bit. Now, if you're kind of looking for inspiration about some keywords and you're not sure where to start, you can put in a basic idea in what we call the Search Explorer. And this will tell you, I'm just going to stick with Google for the moment, but you can see you've got Amazon, eBay, YouTube, Bing. You can use any of these or all of them. I'm going to put in the same keyword here. And what it will do is give me ideas of keywords that are related. Now, it will not tell me the search volume. I can do that by clicking separately, but it's giving me ideas that I might not have thought of. Now, that's one I hadn't thought of before. I know about vitamin D, but I never thought about it for your hair. That's an interesting one. Acne, yes, that's fine. Anxiety. So let me just read to you here what this is telling me. This is my main topic. It could be the entire site, or it could be a category. Then I'm seeing a category for men and women, children and elderly. So I can break it down into age groups. So what I'm now doing is being more specific. Let me tell you why. If a teenager is searching for information about vitamin D to improve their acne, they're not really going to be looking at the benefits to an elderly citizen. By segregating my content, I'm able to reach the individual more precisely, and the more precisely you can target them, the more you're likely to be able to sell them something, because they're looking for a solution. So we've got elderly, children, men, women, skin, hair, acne, then risks, side effects. Okay, those are a separate thing. They could be like a warning category. Anxiety is a different thing. That could be any age group, of course, but in itself, it's kind of a separate topic. For athletes, okay, not interesting to me, but it's something, you know. Bodybuilding is a similar thing. Blood pressure, again, is slightly different. Babies, breastfeeding. For cancer again, cardiovascular disease. I'm seeing multiple categories in here that I wouldn't have thought of necessarily just from my main category, vitamin D benefits. So the Search Explorer will enable me to think about what kind of category should I have on my blog. Or if you want to think of it another way, if I'm writing an ebook, if I'm going to create my own product, what are the kind of main chapters I would think about? I might have a chapter for expectant mothers, and then I might have a chapter for teenagers who have main issue for them is going to be what? Perhaps social anxiety and perhaps acne. So I'd concentrate on those things for them. I might also talk about, well, here's another one, diabetes, and what are the benefits? Digestion, okay, dogs, that's an interesting one. Never thought about that for dogs. There you go. That's an entirely separate topic. I could now have a website that is based around pet owner needs. That's not something I would have thought of before using this. So we're seeing lots of different things here. Vitamin every day, skin and hair growth, vitamin from the sun. So this is kind of a natural thing. Look at this. I mean, how many ideas do you want? This is going to be, you know,
there's something else I want to say about this. You know, I know we by default think, yeah, well, there's billions and billions of pages out there already. Surely someone has already written about this. You know, I can't rank, blah, blah, blah. First of all, as we've already told you, it's a lot easier to rank for a lot of keywords than you think. But second, last year, I wrote a crawler, which is similar to like Google crawls the whole web. I created a crawler to crawl the web. There are about 500 million, 500 million registered domain names, of which 1/3 just don't exist at all. They're not hosted on anything. There's no site at all involved. And of what's left, I did some analysis on hundreds of millions of pages. Most of the web, and I'm so sorry, Google and humanity, to have to say this about the information we have, most of the web is garbage. Most of it is very, very low quality. Google has a very difficult time if you start searching for these longer tail keywords like Eamon was showing you, many times has a very difficult time finding anything of real value to show. So if you are a decent writer or can pay a decent writer or can use a tool like Synthesis, which is our content generation tool, to create quality content and get just a couple of links for these longer tail keywords, you will be amazed at how well you can do and how much traffic you can get from Google, because the web is basically a giant garbage heap with some really good stuff on top. You know, it's the amount of stuff that's really good is very small, and that's something Google has to contend with, especially when trying to find content for those longer keywords with lots of different words in the phrase. So keep that in mind. You think it's difficult because Google shows that they've indexed 75 billion pages or whatever, but most of those pages are low quality, and you can easily do better.
Absolutely. I've just clicked on here because, you know, benefits for women, just to see what would happen. All you do is click on the keyword that comes up in the search suggestions. 720 searches a month doesn't sound many, but once you get people onto your website for this, women who are interested in benefits for vitamin D, or men who are interested in that in the same way, are interested in their health. You can give them information about related topics. You can sign them up to newsletters for information. 720, which is 8,000 and odd, isn't it, a year, is a lot of people. If you got just 10% of those, if you had 800 customers paying you, well, the amount would vary. It could be a membership every month. It could be a single purchase. You know, it's a lot, and it builds time after time. And the other thing is, because of the related topics, your number would be higher than the 720 because you'd get traffic from that. But just have a look here. Weak Kid on the Block here on position 4 has 38 links. Let's just have a quick look at the content that they've got on page 1 for that particular question. How does vitamin D affect women's health? Sunshine's the best medicine, a walk in the park, okay. Bone health, yeah. Drink milk, okay. Why is it important? Wow. Research shows that you might die if you don't have it. Okay, what's the link between that? Not much, it's not clear. Oh, that's a useful answer. We don't know what the link is. Okay, but this is page 1, position 4. Should you take a supplement? Okay, that's a good point here. If you're giving information that's good and it's quality, and you put in a suitable disclaimer, this is a perfect place to do some kind of affiliate promotion of supplements, maybe through the Amazon Associate Program. Can you take too much? Yes. How can you maintain? Yep, okay. I want to ask everybody here, does this look like something that is impossible to create? This little one page with very little solid information on it, but some very nice looking subheadings. John, what do you think? Is this difficult to create an article like this?
Actually, no. If you use a tool like Synthesis, you can create an article like that in a few seconds without even actually writing anything.
DK Flynn has just said absolutely, yes, yeah. They can do it. Okay, so we've shown you a couple of the tools. We cannot show you them all. There is training coming next week. There's a whole bunch of other things. We can look at the backlinks. The Rank Explorer tells us where people websites are ranking. That can be your website or somebody else's. You can track your own ranks. You can get suggestions based on your domain and the keywords you're targeting, and you can get some suggestions on what to do and so on. We'll cover all that in the training next week, but all the individual bits have videos to show you what to do, and you can see there's a walkthrough document as well, which is I think on the main help page. So when you go to a section, you click this little play button and it opens the video help to show you what that bit does. Then there's a wizard. This is for guiding you through the steps for thinking about search engine optimization. This is scratching the surface of what this tool does. Now, most of what you do here, like checking what's on page 1, having a look at the content and so on, you can do all that manually. Finding out the number of backlinks to a website takes a bit of work, and you have to pay for some services to do that. And then you have to calculate them, check the number of domains, check the trust and so on to work out which one is the weakest link. Or you can hit a single page a button on here and get those answers back in a couple of seconds, as I've shown you. The benefit of doing that, and there's a simple reason we've got it made this way, is that rather than spend time adding up numbers and columns of numbers and figures, this gives you the answers that you need. Is this keyword something I can target? Yes, it is, or no, it isn't. If it is one you can target, you can then spend more time on creating your quality content. If you use something like Synthesis, you don't even have to spend a lot of time, and then go to the next related keyword, do the same again, build a few links and so on. And what you're then doing is feeding the monster. You're giving Google precisely what they want, because we know what they want based on the search engine volume. If they want keywords such as vitamin D benefits for women, vitamin D benefits for men, that's because real people are searching for those answers. If we provide those answers, we've got a higher chance of getting onto page 1 and of pleasing the person who's reading our content, which gives us a chance to sell them our own products or affiliate opportunities to make some revenue. It really is as simple as that. But because of the amount of work to do this manually, well, you can do it manually, or you can work the smart way and let the machine take the strain for you. And that means you can do more with less effort. And if you do more, you earn more. It's really not that difficult, is it? If you could do, if you could split yourself in two and do 2 40-hour shifts at work, you'd get paid twice, right? Except you can't. But with the machine, such as Keyword Titan is offering you, the artificial intelligence built into it, John actually coded this, it takes away all that tedious calculation that you would have to do yourself, and it just tells you, and it's color-coded as you've seen. So when we looked at the Keyword Explorer, I'll just show you it one last time before I give you the offer. The weak kid on the block is shown in green so that you don't even have to think. It's there, it's right in front of you. Let me just show you him again. And on this one, the weak kid on the block, if you remember, was this guy down at the bottom, very well health. But there are also other weak kids on the block, but he's the one you'd go for first. When you've knocked this one off the first page, you might go to the one that's got 124 links. When you've dealt with him, you might go to the 173 links. There is no reason that you cannot appear on page one more than once. If you've got the right kind of content with the right kind of links and the right kind of keywords and related content, what John referred to as latent semantic indexing, then you're going to do what Google wants from you. And if you give Google what they want, it's as simple as that. So what I want to do now is just mention the offer because...
let me, well,
yeah, please.
Right before you do, I just want to take 60 seconds to run through some numbers because I want to put a figure on what's possible. Of course, mileage may vary. It depends on the work you put into it and all of that. But I just want people to understand why keywords matter so much. Now, Eamon showed you one keyword that he was looking at, 720 visitors a month. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, right? But if you get those visitors every month, that's 8,640 visitors a year, right? Now, let's say you can only get 5% of those people to opt into your email list, and that's really low. You can do a lot better than that. Let's say 5 out of every 100 people, you can give them some kind of free download, report, whatever, convince them to get on your email list. Just 5%. That's 432 people that you get on your email list every single year. And remember, they don't necessarily leave your email list that year, so you keep building over time. And let's say that you can only make $5 off of each person on your email list, which again, that's low. We know from experience you can do a lot better than that, but I'm being conservative here. That means that one keyword has earned you over $2,000 that year. And that's when you do what Eamon's always talking about, rinse and repeat. If you can get 100 pages of content targeting 100 different keywords that have that same low search volume with those same numbers we talked about, that's over $200,000 a year for the first year you get that traffic. But of course, every year your email list gets bigger and bigger and bigger. It's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. So if you put the work into it and you analyze the keywords, which we will show you how to do in the training, and you build the content, which we've already talked a little bit about, but we'll talk about more in the training, and you repeat that process again and again and again, a trickle becomes an avalanche. That is how it works. It's a numbers game. It's a snowball effect. We talk about this all the time. So I just wanted to throw those numbers out there so people could understand what's possible if they're willing to just take a simple formula and repeat it over time.
Yeah, that's a key phrase, a simple formula that you repeat again and again, a formula that works. I've got a question, what's the training next week? So next week, we're going to be training in depth on using Keyword Titan. We've got a question, can we run through how to use it to find a niche and plan a site? What kind of keywords for the homepage and specific posts? Carrick was asking that. Yes, we're going to be doing exactly that next week. We don't have time to do it now for obvious reasons, but there is a full training, extra training coming next week for you. So let's talk about the actual offer. So we've got discount pricing, but this will end at midnight Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, which is January the 10th. The regular price, which is already discounted, is $197 a year, but you're not going to be paying that. We are doing a deal. Use the coupon JAN2021. You can see it on screen, JAN2021. That coupon will drop the price to $167 for you. That's a $30 saving. And it will lock in that price. And depending on where you are, PayPal credit may be available to you so that you can actually split the payments into 2, 3, or 4, depending on what they offer you, but you still get access immediately to Keyword Titan. Now, remember, you'll also qualify to get the special training we'll be giving next week, where we're going to go through the entire thing, how to choose a niche, how to think about what you should have on your homepage, the keyword to target, what kind of categories you should have on a blog, individual posts as well. That one's not going to be an hour. That's going to take a bit longer than an hour. So for that one, it will be very in-depth indeed. But remember that discount pricing that we've just shown you is going to end at midnight on Sunday, January the 10th. Let me just show you the coupon code again.